we are the host organisation. Our Senior Engagement Manager, Greta Courthouse, who many of you will know, will then cover the latest on participant engagement, what we've been hearing from you over the last year or so and plans for 2025. And then we'll have a bit of time for Q&A. So, what a year we've had. This year, we celebrate a significant milestone, the 25th anniversary of the UN Global Compact. Over the past quarter century, the UN Global Compact has reshaped the way businesses operate, embedding sustainability into corporate strategy and fostering a global movement committed to responsible business practice. 25 years ago, then Secretary General Kofi Annan, speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, proposed that business leaders and the United Nations initiate a global compact of shared values and principles to give a human face to the global market. This was the beginning of a powerful partnership between business, government, and civil society to create a more inclusive and ethical global economy. What started as a call to action has grown into the world's largest corporate sustainability initiative, engaging over 20,000 global companies, 3,000 non-business participants in over 160 countries, including more than 360 participating organisations in Australia, and we thank you all for being part of the Compact. So, why this matters now? Today, we're meeting at a time of significant global change. Geopolitical tensions are rising, economic uncertainty is shaping boardroom discussions, and we're seeing a shift towards populism in many regions. At the same time, businesses must navigate an era of misinformation, making it much harder to cut through the noise and focus on real transformation. As Lenin, or was it Steve Bannon, once said, there are decades where nothing happens, and then there are weeks when decades happen. However, uncertainty also breeds opportunity. Companies that can navigate these challenges strategically, adapt quickly, and build robust, responsible operations not only weather the storms, but also emerge stronger and more competitive. Joining the UN Global Compact Network Australia is not just about corporate social responsibility. It's a strategic investment in your company's future, providing a framework and platform to enhance resilience, mitigate risks, and unlock new opportunities in these uncertain times. Businesses need clarity and consistency, and that's exactly what the 10 principles of the UN Global Compact provide. Regardless of how the political landscape shifts, these principles, covering human rights, labour, environment, and anti-corruption, offer a strong foundation for responsible business. More importantly, they make good business sense. Now consider these facts. UNGCNA participants listed on the ASX outperform their peers financially, an increased shareholder return of 5% year on year. Embedding sustainability into core business strategy has numerous benefits, including strategic risk management, investor risk reduction, but can also drive innovation, new markets, and supply chain resilience. And talent matters. Businesses leading on sustainability attract and retain top employees, with younger generations prioritising purpose-driven work. Take corporate reporting as an example. We're not reporting for reporting's sake. Done well, reporting unlocks opportunity. It encourages collaboration across departments, ensuring that climate risk is embedded into financial planning, business strategy, and capital deployment. This isn't just about ticking a compliance box. It's about future-proofing your business, managing risk, and improving performance. Throughout today's event, we'll share how the UN Global Compact Network Australia can help you shape your business agenda. Our role is to help you navigate complexity, providing knowledge and networks to build your personal resilience and your own power, and future-proof your business. Through our programming that you will hear much more about today, we offer practical tools, expert guidance, and a trusted global network, helping you make informed decisions that will drive both profit and positive impact. The businesses that embrace sustainability, manage risk, and build resilience today will be the market leaders of tomorrow. It's not just about survival, it's about setting the standard for what's possible. Together, we can build businesses that don't just adapt to a changing world, but define its future. Let's build that future together. So now's the time to meet the team. We're currently 12 staff with expertise across the technical elements of the 10 principles of the UN Global Compact, and also stakeholder engagement, marketing, operations, and data analysis. And you'll hear from many of us today. And just a quick snapshot of 2024. Last year was a really awesome, busy year. We hosted 43 events with over 2,000 attendees. We successfully launched our flagship conference in Sydney, and thanks to all of you who came along. More to come in 2026. We welcomed the first official mission to Australia in over a decade from our New York-based CEO, Sanda, and Assistant Secretary General of the UN Global Compact. We launched a new course on greenwashing with hundreds of corporates joining, and introduced new peer learning groups exclusively for our participants, including Advanced Climate Reporters Community of Practice and Human Rights Due Diligence Working Group. Now that's enough for me. I will hand over to Julia.
Thank you, Kate, and thank you to everyone joining our launch today. I'm Julia Burke, a Senior Coordinator in the Programs team, and we'll be taking you through an overview of our work streams and high-level events for 2025. So the programmatic offering of the UN Global Compact Network Australia covers the following 3 work streams: environment and climate change, business and human rights, and sustainability governance, respectively being the E, S, and G. Now, you may be wondering how we decide what to focus on each year. Well, we look at global trends, UN frameworks, and emerging legislation. We also look at what's on the horizon to spot emerging trends and issues to ensure that we can prepare businesses for what is next. One of the most important things we also do is talk to our participants to hear what is on your mind, any pain points, challenges, but also opportunities and achievements. This input really helps to shape our offering, which is designed to help you become strong, at-scale private sector leaders, ready to be ambitious, innovative, and to form partnerships for the goals. The next slide shows the global events on the calendar for 2025, and these forums and summits focus on accelerating the SDGs and working with the business community on advancing the private sector's impact. The timeline shows a combination of both UN flagship events as well as UN Global Compact events too. And those labelled with a star are the events that the UNGCNA will be attending in 2025. If there are any participants on the call today who are already planning on engaging at any of these high-level events, we encourage you to get in contact with us at these events, or so that we can help to facilitate connections with our UN Global Compact country network in country hosting countries. Now, moving along to focus on the country network level, here is a high-level overview of our key events in 2025. Now, this graphic doesn't include all of our activities, and I'm shortly going to pass on to our workstream managers to go into more detail for our workstream plans. This work plan has been developed taking into consideration a lot of feedback from participants on how we can deliver the most value to you. In 2025, we'll be endeavouring to spread the reach of our in-person events across the country, including taking our ABC Dialogue to Perth this July. We also intend to hold more networking events in other cities around Australia, as well as make more events hybrid and accessible for those who cannot attend in person. We know that sustainability reporting has been front of mind for many of our participants. In response to this, we are currently developing content for a series of sustainability reporting courses, as well as working towards the establishment of a sustainability reporting community of practice. There will be different topics rolled out over time across the 3 work streams as part of this offering, and our workstream leads, Evan and Dan, will provide some more detail on this shortly. We also remain flexible and responsive to participant needs and to developments happening both locally and globally to ensure that our activities can have the highest possible value and impact. We encourage you to keep in contact with our team and let us know if there are any subject areas you're struggling with that we could provide more support on. Now I'd like to hand over to Evan to take us through the environment and climate change workstream.
Well, last year escalated quickly. In the words of UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres in his recent address to the UN General Assembly, our world is in a whirlwind. We are in an era of epic transformation, facing challenges unlike any that we have ever seen. Challenges that demand global solutions. We thank you for joining us today as we build upon what we did this past year, uniting as those who believe in sustainable business as an integral part of the global solution. In 2024, we led with Forward Faster and saw our commitments to initiatives like climate action and water resilience and a number of others grow. We learned through the Climate Ambition Accelerator, consultations, the Academy, and even the Global Nature Positive Summit. We connected through our Advanced Climate Reporters Community of Practice and our networking events throughout Australia. And we did all three while hosting the Assistant Secretary General on our first visit to Australia, as Kate already mentioned, and at the incredible Uniting Business Live conference. And we see you, our participants, our solution-oriented participants. And this year at the UNGCNA, we aim to increase our environmental work across the private sector, across government, and alongside our not-for-profit allies. As we join and show that in a world of shifting priorities, we are not backsliding. But enough about last year. Here are our themes and priorities for 2025. Our first priority is the net zero transition. Last year, the world saw its hottest year on record with mounting natural disasters, despite 2023 already shattering previous heat records. However, Australian business brought a glimmer of hope, and one of those things is that championing the progress that is occurring through climate-related financial disclosure. This year, with mandatory climate reporting efforts now underway, the first Group 1 reporters are set to showcase their efforts in just over 9 months. Likewise, we are here to help you with an added course and digital community of practice aligned with ASRS S2. Our Forward Faster campaign with an imperative to act on climate action is available for all who still set science-based targets with SBTI. And if you don't have a target yet, we can support you with our Climate Ambition Accelerator. We're also working through issues that come when you're at the forefront of change. With our Advanced Climate Reporters Community of Practice, we will continue to collaborate on solutions for the emerging reporting issues that our businesses are dealing with. This includes integrating Nature Positive to our existing reporting efforts and driving Target 15 of the Global Biodiversity Framework. On the topic of Nature Positive, last year was indeed a big year. At a global level, we can see this increased focus on biodiversity in business. With the recent announcement that as an outgrowth of the CBD's COP16, there is now the absolutely necessary $2 billion in finance per annum committed to Nature Positive. Here we represented the UNGCNA and fed your voice into the Global Nature Positive Summit in 2024. We also connected with a sold-out business and biodiversity networking evening in Melbourne. That was loads of fun. And we provided feedback to government on what our businesses need in the pursuit of Nature Positive. And this year we're seeking support for you through our Academy offerings, further events, and direct support on reporting for Nature Positive. Finally, there are a number of other issues impacting us in a rapidly evolving geopolitical landscape. In the circular economy space, for instance, this year we will add focus on critical minerals, circular solutions for Scope 3, and other issues that are at the intersection of circularity and Nature Positive, such as deforestation. We are also looking to support our participant businesses in the ever-crucial ocean space. Last year, we consulted with you for feedback on the Sustainable Ocean Draft Plan, and this year we're excited to further engage with the first ever Blue Economic Forum taking place in Monaco in advance of the UN Ocean Conference in France. In terms of other global environment events, we'll keep you in the loop with COP30 and updates on COP31. Sorry, I've got no secret intel to share, and other global movements with material impact and sustainable business. We'll make sure that you have the knowledge that you need. Notably, we aim to showcase the voice of Australian business as well on the ground this year at COP30, and we will also uplift and truly collaborate with our First Nations brothers and sisters at the intersection of Nature Positive and Net Zero. Finally, I often say that corporations are not people. They are made up of people. And at the UNGCNA, we get to work with some of the best people. This is probably my favorite part of what we do. We are so encouraged by the Net Zero Economy Agency that came to fruition last year, but we will continue to put people first as we support the workers of Australian business and a just and equitable transition. So without further ado, let me dive in and highlight some of our activities in a little bit more specificity that are planned for this year in the environment and climate change workstream. So here are some of our 2025 solution-oriented programming highlights. Our next session of the Advanced Climate Reporters Community of Practice, or ACRCOP, if you're an acronym lover in this space, is titled Integrating Nature Positive and will be held at HSF in Melbourne. This community of practice is invite only and targeted towards ASX 30s and others that are leading in this reporting space. We are capped on these events, but if you meet this criteria and you would like to attend, please get in contact with Greta or myself. We have opened up recruitment now for our Climate Ambition Accelerator, alongside mandatory reporting efforts, as our fantastic board chair readily explains. There is a need to move beyond reporting as a tick box exercise. Thus, with an imperative for a net zero transition, we are again offering another regional Australia and New Zealand Climate Ambition Accelerator to help you submit your own science-based target. Registrations, as I mentioned, are now open. If you have any questions, please get in touch with me or Laura Taylor, who is again running the program and doing it fantastically. And you, last year, asked for more spaces to connect and work through our struggles in the sustainability space and the environment space to drive change, and we are listening. This year, as Julia mentioned, we are launching a new digital community of practice on reporting with multiple work streams. We aim to launch an expanded online reporting community of practice with a climate stream in Q2 and a biodiversity stream in Q4. Both of these will be open to all participant organizations and be supplemented by fantastic course offerings, which we hope to release alongside the communities of practice streams. In conclusion, we want to hear from you and we want to work with you. In 2024, we will again work together to lead, to learn, to connect. We will not cede momentum. The UNGCNA, we are here to support you as we unite and move forward with global solutions to the challenges that are indeed unlike any that we have ever seen. So speaking of working together, let me hand it over to the fantastic Katie Shavin and our Business and Human Rights workstream. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Evan, and good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here today and to have the opportunity to join this network of amazing professionals. For those of you who haven't met me, my name is Katie Shavin, and I very recently joined the UNGCNA to lead the Business and Human Rights workstream. I want to take just a moment to acknowledge the extraordinary contribution that my colleague Julia has made, so capably and deftly stepping up to steward this workstream during the second half of last year. So thinking about projected business and human rights trends for this coming year, as both Kate and Evan have mentioned, there are some significant sources of both regulatory and political uncertainty at the moment, which will have implications for everyone working to advance responsible and sustainable business, including those of us focused on human rights. These include, and I'm sure this will come as no surprise to many of you, the reopening of discussions about the EU Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, the Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive, and the Taxonomy Regulation, with a proposal from the European Commission released last week to some fairly strong responses, I think it's fair to say, from all stakeholder groups. There's a continued focus in the business and human rights space on forced labour bans and ongoing discussions about whether a forced labour import ban is needed here in Australia. I think it goes without saying that the geopolitical context at the moment is complex and challenging for many, if not most, businesses. And we're also expecting the announcement of a federal election here in Australia anytime now. So there's a lot happening. It feels a little like the sand is shifting under our feet. And a big part of all of our jobs this year will be getting clear on how to navigate that change and uncertainty while maintaining progress on what matters. Turning to modern slavery, we expect to see a reinjection of energy and focus on modern slavery this year. We understand that the federal government is preparing to progress the revision of the Modern Slavery Act, building on its response to the recommendations released last year. It's pretty likely that process will be disrupted by the election. Significantly, Chris Evans, the Federal Anti-Slavery Commissioner, has recently commenced his new role, has set up an office here in Melbourne, and we understand he's really keen to engage with business and other stakeholders to strengthen focus and action to address modern slavery. Finally, turning to emerging human rights areas of focus, we're continuing to see key issue areas coming more strongly into focus, rising to the top of people's priorities. Notably this year, many of these reflect growing recognition of the intersection between the E, S, and G dimensions of the sustainability transition. So, for example, the human rights and environmental risks associated with the race to secure critical minerals, the implications of nature-positive initiatives for Indigenous peoples' rights, which Evan mentioned also, and questions about how responsible AI can unlock opportunities to move further and faster. So with that context in mind, let's turn to how we'll be supporting you all to navigate this changing landscape through the Business and Human Rights Workstream program this year. I think it goes without saying that there's a lot to do, and I'm excited to hit the ground running with as much as we can. Beginning with the modern slavery community of practice, which I hear consistently is one of our most popular offerings. For those of you who are newer to working with us, the community of practice provides an opportunity for participating businesses to work together in a safe space to share learnings, discuss challenges, more confidently navigate developments in the modern slavery space. In terms of this year, we're firming up plans as we speak. And we've heard some interest from a number of you in diversifying the format, for example, including some shorter and more frequent sessions alongside less frequent, longer, more in-depth convenings. The first session, I'm delighted to announce, will take place on the 24th of March and will bring together the optimising, implementing and SME streams of this program. Wonderfully, the Federal Anti-Slavery Commissioner, Chris Evans, will be joining us for that first session to consult with participants on his strategic priorities and his approach to his 5-year mandate. The invitation to this session will be shared today if it hasn't gone out already, so please keep an eye out for it in your inboxes. We've also very recently launched the Business and Human Rights Accelerator. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, the Accelerator is a 6-month program that supports participating businesses to move more swiftly from commitment to action on human rights and labour rights by establishing an ongoing human rights due diligence program. It recently kicked off, as I mentioned. It will continue throughout the first half of this year. If you aren't participating this time around but are interested in the Accelerator, please let us know. Expressions of interest for future accelerators can be made through the website or by reaching out to either Julia or I. Thirdly, human rights due diligence publication. So over the past few months, Julia has led the development of a publication that examines business integration of human rights due diligence in Australia, building on a similar publication we released a couple of years ago. The updated publication incorporates a deep dive into strengthening internal buy-in and traction on human rights, which feels particularly timely given the competing challenges for internal attention at the moment. Next on the list, a critical minerals roundtable. Evan and I are working together to convene a roundtable in Perth that explores the environmental and human rights risks, opportunities and challenges for business associated with the rapidly growing demand for critical minerals. It will take place in Perth in July alongside the Australian Dialogue on Bribery and Corruption, which Dan will tell you all more about. And then finally, the Australian Human Rights Business and Human Rights Dialogue. As many of you will know, since 2014, the UNGCNA has convened an annual dialogue on business and human rights to connect stakeholders across business, civil society, government, and investor groups. This year, we're excited to share a slight departure from business as usual on this front. We've been invited to collaborate with the UN Working Group on Business and Human Rights and a small group of prominent universities to convene the inaugural UN Business and Human Rights Forum for the Australasian region, which will incorporate a one-day dialogue for business alongside an expanded multi-stakeholder event that invites participants to look ahead and discuss what we want from the business and human rights landscape to look like in the next 3, 5 or 10 years, and to get clearer on what we're working together towards. It will take place on the 26th and 27th of August here in Melbourne, and we'll be sharing more information about that shortly. In the meantime, I really encourage you all to save those dates. It'd be wonderful to have as strong a crowd of business and other participants at that event as possible. There are a number of additional activities that are coming up, and I'm conscious of the time and ensuring that Dan has some space to talk to you all about his program as well. But just to flag a few additional things, we will be looking to build on the Human Rights Due Diligence Working Group that launched last year and to continue an offering in that space. We're also in conversation with the Office of the Anti-Slavery Commissioner about a number of compelling opportunities for us to work with the Commissioner to support his work, and importantly to create opportunities for business to engage with his program. And finally, we've had a real interest from you all in finding more ways to collect up insights, anonymized examples of practice and approaches from the many discussions that we have through this work stream. So we'll be looking at opportunities to better capture them in short, practical, actionable outputs to make some of that gold dust more accessible. Planning for this program is still in progress, given that I've only very recently joined the team here. If you or a colleague are interested in this work stream and have ideas or requests, please do get in touch. You know, these programs really work best when they respond to your current priorities, your focus areas, your needs, and I'd be really keen to hear from you. I'm very happy to set up a call to chat or just take input by email if you prefer. With that, I'll pass over to Dan.
Thanks so much, Katie. Good morning, everybody. I'm Dan Wilcock, joining from Lutruwita, Tasmania. And, you know, we've heard this is a real luxury for us. We're surrounded by passionate people. It's great to see the list from around the country in the chat. And we get to step up and talk about these high-level trends for a moment. So I'm going to continue the same theme for the sustainability governance workstream. Look, if I had to sort of try and capture it all in one piece, I'd just say, if you are a policy nerd like me, or you're a media and news junkie, this is your time. So it won't surprise you that the first trend I'm touching on here is the dynamic political and regulatory environment, as you've heard about already from my colleagues. There is an eye-watering amount of political and reg change to keep track of this year. So we're there with you all on that. I would just step up and add a couple of comments. For example, focus on multilateralism itself. It's really under strain right now. If you're curious to take a look at the Global Cooperation Barometer, it was released in January. There's the link going up now. It has some pretty stark observations that global cooperation's at a crossroads and has flatlined. We did have some positive news on the horizon last year with the Pact of the Future being adopted by the UN General Assembly, but we're also witnessing headwinds in multilateralism, whether it's progress on climate negotiations or the Plastics Treaty or other consensus-based bodies internationally. And frankly, that was already underway before the second Trump administration made clear the extent to which it's departing from decades of US foreign and trade policy, a return to unilateralism and protectionism. So fortunately, there remains a group of like-minded countries who are continuing to work to uphold multilateralism and oppose protectionism this year. If you step from multilateralism down to national levels, it's pretty fascinating that we're just in a period of significant election cycles too. Half of the world went to the polls last year. If you take, and that continues this year, if you take the Five Eyes traditional partners, Canada, US, UK, Australia, New Zealand, all five going to elections within 18 months, and potentially, I'm not making any calls, potentially 5 changes of government. So then you superimpose that changing environment on top of regulatory changes. They've been coming thick and fast in recent years. Joe Longo, chair of ASIC, recently observed that we don't do simplicity well in Australia for legislative and the regulatory landscape. But I don't expect to see outcomes from the simplification consultative group anytime soon. So we're dealing with climate reporting, nature repair market, Senate inquiry to greenwashing will probably have recommendations. I've heard about the federal Anti-Slavery Commissioner, Combating Foreign Bribery Act, the introduction of the National Anti-Corruption Commission. So we have our hands full staying on top of those developments. And again, we're looking at keeping an eye on US regulatory windbacks now. So really what's clear from all of that, it's a time of significant realignment and recalibration of priorities and alliances in the year ahead. So we all will be no doubt needing to lean into navigating that change and uncertainty and staying pretty agile and responsive, particularly if you sit within a multinational body or operating in lots of different jurisdictions. And we, of course, say that the legal, market, reputational risks that we talk about in ESG aren't going away. So we keep those sort of fiduciary duties and obligations as our North Star. The second topic there, uplifted governance for sustainability. I don't think this will be a surprise to anyone, but there are clearer signals all the time that boards and senior leadership are now expected to be meaningfully engaged on sustainability issues. Again, managing those areas of legal, market, and reputational risk systematically. One of the insights from our work throughout last year on greenwashing is that there's not particularly a one-size-fits-all solution for all types of different organizations, but it's critical to ensure we've got mechanisms in place to bring the right people together on the right topics at the right times around ESG and figuring out what those cross-cutting mechanisms are for your organization. So then I think, again, directors and senior leaders need to remain on top of developments, not just in climate and sustainability reporting, but all areas of governance changes and ESG changes. One other topic I just want to stop on briefly here is Gen AI. Again, we're hearing a lot about the opportunities for Gen AI and how to harness those benefits, the upside opportunities, but also while mitigating the risks of misuse. I would just say, if you're starting to turn your mind or you've already been dealing with these issues, the Global Compact has recently released a report called Gen AI for the Global Goals, Creating Tangible Business Value, while focusing on ensuring responsible and ethical implementation. So we will look to pick up those themes as well. And then the third theme, active litigation and enforcement environment. Australia continues to be a very active jurisdiction in ESG litigation, and that shapes some of the work that we're doing on the governance side and risk management. So we're keeping a close eye both on the trends here in Australia and overseas. Government and enforcement, top of mind is likely to be ASIC in the ACCC. We saw Vanguard record penalty for greenwashing of 12.9 million last year, Mercer in that same neighbourhood. ACCC brought an action against Clorox in respect of ocean-bound plastics claims. Agreed penalties of 8.25 million were put to the federal court last month, so we expect to see that decision soon. So greenwashing, environmental sustainability claims continues to be a priority. The Australian Federal Police and NAC both had positive enforcement outcomes in corruption matters last year, and they have other cases working through the pipeline. In terms of private actions, the Australian Centre for Corporate Responsibility has an action ongoing against Santos Limited in relation to the veracity of their net zero emissions plan. And the hearing took place in the federal court late last year, so we may see a decision coming up in 25. And globally, the International Court of Justice is expected to issue an advisory opinion on climate change this year. While it won't be legally binding, it will address with moral weight what states or nations must do to respond to the climate crisis. And the final point I'd make is that we're just keeping an eye on so-called SLAP suits, or strategic litigation against public participation, seeing an increase in some areas. For example, you might have heard Greenpeace is currently defending a US $300 million lawsuit in the US brought by a pipeline company over protests against the Dakota Access pipeline in 2016, which frankly could bankrupt that organization as well. So leveraging from those trends that we're keeping an eye on to our programmatic activities for 2025. First of all, greenwashing and time to stop the spin cycle. This was a course we developed last year with Salter Baxter and Kahoot, and we were very grateful for the response it received from participants and external companies. We found, even though it was targeted at marketing and communications professionals, we found people from all types of different professions, compliance and operations, etc. Really got a lot of benefit out of it, and we got a lot of benefit from the engagement in that platform between learners. So we have 3 dates teed up for this year with 3 cohorts going ahead. One of the things we heard last year was that a number of companies are operating in global environments, and so they could use an international version of that course for staff located in other jurisdictions. So while the first course is very much focused on Australia as a jurisdiction, we're developing an international version for launch in the middle of the year. You've heard from Julia and Evan about the sustainability reporting community of practice and a range of courses that we're launching from the middle of the year in that. And so we're definitely developing one that's focused on AASB S1 and the fundamentals of sustainability reporting. The 10th Australian Dialogue on Bribery and Corruption, as you've heard, will be in Perth on the 24th of July. We're really looking forward to that one. The focus this year will really be on critical minerals, clean energy, and green metals. And again, we're seeing a global scramble has accelerated just in recent weeks to secure critical minerals through all sorts of different new negotiating tactics. So this is a really important topic right now. We're continuing some work to support the sport community to deliver corruption and collusion-free major events over the next decade, including the Brisbane Olympics and Paralympics. And we're also continuing some work that started last year on the intersection between competition law and sustainability issues. The ACCC released guidelines, final guidance on that in December last year, and we are now working on some practical tools, both for our use and for participant companies to use to manage those issues. Now, the Bribery Prevention Network is another fantastic piece of work, and for that, I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Lara Taylor. Thanks all.
Thank you, Dan. Welcome. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to discuss the Bribery Prevention Network. We're really excited to be hosting the BPN again in 2025. So for those who may not have come across the Bribery Prevention Network, it is a public-private partnership that brings together business, civil society, and government with a shared goal of supporting Australian businesses to prevent, detect, and address bribery and corruption and promote a culture of compliance. So our Bribery Prevention Hub does host resources to support your organisation in knowing the risks, identifying and assessing issues, as well as disclosing and remediating incidents. In 2025, much of the BPN's work will focus on supporting Australian businesses to uplift their governance in response to the Combating Foreign Bribery Bill. In particular, raising awareness that businesses can protect themselves by implementing adequate procedures in their internal compliance. So if the worst were going to happen, adequate procedures can provide a legal defence if an associate of your business engages in foreign bribery. For example, the BPN have just launched a very handy series of short videos to inform senior business leaders on anti-corruption issues. You can find a link to the 5-part video series on the QR code on the slide, but also in the chat. And we are continuing to deepen collaboration with our key participants in the BPN. So, for example, we're engaging with the National Anti-Corruption Commission, or the NAC, more this year. We will also continue to track global developments in the anti-corruption landscape with impacts on Australian businesses, such as the White House order to halt enforcement of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. You can keep up with news, in particular on our LinkedIn. It's quite active. So please follow us on LinkedIn and subscribe to the newsletter, which will be going out soon, just to keep up to date with Bribery Prevention Network and any updates in this space. I'm now going to pass on to Greta Courthouse. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lara, and good morning, everybody. Yes, I'm on mute. First, a short overview of our membership demographics. We have reached 354 participants and welcomed 95 new members just in 2024. And our membership now consists of 165 corporations and 154 small to medium enterprises. We also work with 35 non-business participants, which are universities, associations, and not-for-profits. 65 of our participants are listed on the ASX 500, including 24 in the ASX 50. When it comes to the roles and titles within member organizations who connect with us the most, these are heads of sustainability and ESG managers, CEOs, MDs, directors, and CFOs. We would love to reach and support more of your colleagues from departments such as marketing, procurement, legal, finance, HR, and training and development, as all staff can partake in the UNGCNA activities. With our offering geared towards both the technical experts as well as the C-suite, we invite you to update your company dashboard with additional context or send us the details of anyone you would like to see added so we can help you with that. Please remember that our activities are relevant to sustainability professionals, risk and compliance professionals, marketing and commerce professionals, procurement, supply chain, legal, and many other departments. Now, an overview of our 2024 participant survey. A little bit of background. Every year we send out a survey, and we do that during the last quarter of the calendar year to get feedback from our participants. Our latest survey was sent out in November 24, and overall we've made progress in supporting sustainability goals, and you have also shared great suggestions. The key findings consist of 3 areas, which are member expectations, satisfaction levels, and engagement opportunities. For member expectations, you would like more collective problem solving, actionable insights, and meaningful networking, things we're currently developing and deliver in 2025 and beyond. In terms of satisfaction levels, there's good news. 87% of respondents are satisfied with their offerings, which is up from last year. And events like our Uniting Business Life Australia conference got very, very positive feedback. In terms of engagement, or when it comes to engagement formats, many of you let us know that you still prefer hybrid formats for better access, understandably so. Australia is a large country. And some of you feel that there's maybe not quite enough direct engagement tailored to your needs. As you have seen today, we are offering a wide range of engagement activities this year, and you can always speak to us about what you would like to see us focus on more. So thanks again for sharing your thoughts in the latest survey. To better meet those expectations, our response strategy for 2025 focuses on these 4 areas. First off, leadership recruitment. We are recruiting a director of marketing and communications and have welcomed yesterday our engagement coordinator, Farah Dirgan-Toro. So welcome, Farah. Next, we're enhancing our data management. We're upgrading the use of our CRM to help us provide more tailored communication and support for our members and wider stakeholders. Then there's regional engagement. We are planning to set up and host local events, especially in WA and Queensland. This will help us be more inclusive and connect with more of you. And finally, innovative event formats. We're excited to introduce interactive workshops and peer learning sessions. These will cater to different learning styles and preferences, making it easier for everyone to engage. So in terms of the opportunities ahead, we see potential in expanding our thought leadership on key topics like modern slavery, climate reporting, as you saw today. We also want to offer more tailored support for SMEs. Keep in mind that everything we offer for businesses also is available to SMEs, but we are looking at a more specific and tailored offering, ensuring that relevant resources can be accessed. And we are working on engaging C-suite executives to broaden our impact. Kate and I are holding monthly open office hours to speak directly with you, our participants. This will be a great opportunity to update us on any issues, discoveries, and questions that are on top of your mind. And it provides an informal setting to chat with us and with your peers, really. The next open office hours is scheduled for the 19th of March, so you can register for that now. The next virtual open house is scheduled for the 8th of April, and that might be of interest, especially to those of you who are not yet participants. So please register for this session if you're interested in joining. In general, I'm your main point of contact for both interested organizations and for our participants. So please do not hesitate to reach out to me with any questions you may have. I'll be happy to assist. And with that, we may just as well go into our question time. What have we got?
So there's no questions in there yet, Greta. So I might start with a question of my own. So you and I spend a lot of time out talking to our participants and hearing about what's happening. And we often hear about burnout, mental health, really looking after yourself in these terribly uncertain times with an overwhelming amount of news and activity and things happening. So I'm going to ask you, Greta, what do you do to look after your own health and well-being?
Oh, what a great question. I think my number one discovery this summer, and I admit we had a specifically wonderful summer here in Melbourne and still, well, it's autumn now, but it's a lovely autumn too. I've discovered ocean swimming. So I now at 6 a.m. jump out of bed, drive to Williamstown Beach and go for a little swim. Or if there's a group of people, it's not maybe a full swim, it can just be an aqua chat, as we call it. And it's the most restorative and refreshing thing to do in the morning. And I've really discovered the local community there. There's a little coffee place on the side. So starting the day with something that really is not work related is helping me a lot, and it refreshes me for the rest of the day. What about you, Kate?
I tend to try and do things and do them for a little bit and then forget about it. So I did sign up for a triathlon with every intention of practicing and doing swimming and running, etc. But then the day of the triathlon came around and I hadn't practiced very much at all. But I did it, and I did ocean swimming, and it was awesome. So I just wish I lived a little bit closer to an ocean. We do have a couple of questions coming in. Dan, one for you. Kelly, hi Kelly, is asking, why are we targeting marketing and comms professionals with a greenwashing course?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. Thanks, Kelly. So a couple of things going on with that course and the way we've structured it. First is that, Kelly, what might be behind your question a little bit is that false, misleading, and deceptive conduct are principles that are well known to most marketing and comms professionals. But the greenwashing conduct is happening basically in a new subject matter area. So that's really a lot of the focus on the course is one, yeah, absolutely understanding the sort of legal frameworks and the implications, but applying it within a sustainability and environmental claims context. And what we're finding is that for marketing and comms professionals, often this course is their first touch point with sustainability. So you know, we work very closely with a lot of sustainability staff who live and breathe these issues, but marketing and comms folks haven't necessarily had that exposure. So we have all sorts of wonderful conversations drilling into topics that are probably beyond the strict scope of the course. And so really it caters to people coming from either direction, either from an ESG background who need to come up to speed on marketing and consumer law, or the other way around, those coming from a marketing background who want to come up to speed on sustainability. I hope that answers.
Thanks, Dan. I think it also talks to the fact that often sustainability people are talking to sustainability people, and really we need to break out and talk to everybody across the business. So we do want to be reaching beyond the sustainability teams into finance, into marketing, into procurement, and really everywhere. We want every job to be a sustainability job, not just those who have the technical expertise.
I actually neglected to mention an important part of that question too, which is a good part of the course is really focused on telling positive ESG narratives, and how to do that in a way that doesn't end up offside, because we all want to avoid green hushing. We all want to see businesses telling their success stories and talking about their journey in open, honest, and transparent ways. So that's a big focus of the course too.
Thanks, Dan. There's a question in the chat from Donella on SMEs. So the question is whether we do work in collaboration with the Ombudsman's Office and the local chambers of commerce. And the answer is yes, we do collaborate, but we would like to collaborate more, both with Bruce, the Ombudsman, and all of the various chambers of commerce across Victoria. There's a lot of opportunity to be realised there, and it's something that we will be thinking about later this year and next year. I'm always open for a chat, as are others, around how we can support our SMEs better. Lara, would you like to answer Robin's question on the BPN video series?
Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Robin. Great question. Yes, we're really excited to have launched the video series. Our contributor organisations with the BPN, so all our partners, we're always discussing with each other what's going on in this space. It's changing all the time. So as things evolve in the world, in the bribery space, it's important for us to keep up to date. And if a possibility of that is extending our video series to respond to changes in the bribery space, then that's something that we'll absolutely discuss. And it's really important that, you know, we hear from our participants at the UNGCNA, and as well as keeping up to date with news and enforcement actions to make sure our video series are relevant. But I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Thanks, Lara. Now we have another question in the chat asking if there are any free courses that marketing professionals can do to understand more about greenwashing. Our course on greenwashing is paid. It's quite in-depth, facilitated, and it takes quite a number of hours to get through it. But what I might do is get Greta to talk a little bit about the Academy, because if you are a participant of the Global Compact, you have access, you and all of your colleagues, with the email address of your workplace, have access to our Academy, which has hundreds of courses which cover greenwashing along with many other things. So Greta, would you mind just touching on the Academy?
Yes, so the Academy is a digital learning platform available to all staff. So the moment you become a participant of the Global Compact, every single staff member can request access. It's very straightforward. You can create your own learning plans, and if you prefer using your own learning management platform or system, you can request to download up to 3 SCORM files onto your own LMS. The Academy is a global offering, meaning that the content covers the Sustainable Development Goals, the 10 principles, and maybe not so much issues and topics pertaining to the Australian discourse. That is what we do here in Australia, but it's an incredibly well-curated platform that enables you to create your own learning plans or invite specific teams to take specific classes. And you can reach out to me and I can let you know which team members have completed which offerings, for example, should that be of interest.
Thanks, Greta. And it does have an improved interface and learner journey this year. So Global have just upgraded the Academy. So hopefully it will be more useful and remind all of your colleagues and staff that they really should make the most of using the Academy. Okie dokie, I think we don't have any more questions. Andrew's saying the Academy has changed. It has, and your old courses are missing. So Andrew, we shall investigate that.
Yes, yeah, the content transfer is currently happening. I'm very confident that everything will be recovered. If you continue to have any issues, reach out to me. I can assist you.
Thanks, Greta. Okie dokes. I think it's over to me to wrap up. Huge thank you to my amazing team for all of the information that you've provided today. I do want to say a massive thank you to Amelia and Chloe, who you probably haven't seen. Oh no, Amelia is now on screen. So thank you, massive thank you to Amelia and Chloe, who've been working really hard. Oh, Chloe's there too. Chloe, really hard behind the scenes to get this up and running. Massive appreciation. And you've heard about our key activities for 2025. We will be sending out all of the information that you've been through today, so you'll get both the slides and the recording in a post-event email. And a reminder that we do have registrations open now for Climate Ambition Accelerator that Evan taught you through, and our greenwashing course that Dan has taught you through. You don't need to be a marketing and comms professional. It's extremely informative regardless. We look forward to visiting Perth this year and to returning to many other cities across the east of Australia. We really love feedback. We'll keep responding to participant needs, so please reach out. We want to hear from you. We want to make sure we're providing you value. So always come over and have a chat. Join the open office hours whenever you like. Reach out in whatever way you find easiest. And one final and very important announcement. We are pleased to confirm our next conference. So this is a save the date. We're returning Uniting Business Live Australia to Sydney on the 13th and 14th of May 2026. So pop that in your calendars now. The event will include small group sessions on the first day. So we've heard that you really want to do deep dives, get technical, solve problems with one another. So that's what we're going to be providing for you. We're still working out content and issues. So if you've got any ideas that you really want to work intensely on for half a day, come and let us know. The second day will be a full day conference, keynotes, panels, networking, etc. Save the date. We really look forward to seeing you there. Now, if you're interested in learning more or being contacted by one of our team, please scan the QR code on the screen. It will take you to a very quick feedback survey, so please fill in that survey too, so we can make this as useful as possible. And we'd be very grateful to hear honestly what you thought about today's presentation and any other thoughts or feedback you may have. And that's us. Thank you so much for coming along. Thank you to the team, and thank you to all of our participants. We really couldn't do it without you. So thank you so much for being part of the UN Global Compact Network Australia, and hopefully we'll see you all soon.